Hi everyone, welcome to Anand's round 9 game against Topalov. This is the game that in my mind sealed the tournament for him. If we look at the position, it seems that white has some advantage because the e-pawn's a bit weak and black's king is a bit exposed, and whereas white has no real weaknesses. So my question to you, and this is an important question, pause your video and figure out what move you would play here for black. Okay, I'm going to show you now. So this is a really interesting position in my mind. It looks kind of obvious what white should do. Or at least there's one move that really stands out. This bishop on e4 is really well posted. It looks like we should play the move c4. He can't take it because then we take the bishop. And the question is, what does black do? If bishop f5, queen to f4. If the bishop moves away, we take and we go e6. And when the king moves, queen f3 and take on d5. Whoops. Totally pressed the wrong button. All right, let's go back. So Anand actually didn't play c4. I was going to tell you that right away, but I messed up the video. He played the move a5 instead. And while looking at this game, I was wondering, well, why not just c4? Why a5? And this is what top players are really good at. They have extreme patience. They're very good at not rushing and stopping their opponent's counterplay. First thing you have to recognize, these pawns are in the same color as this bishop, which makes them weak. What would happen if c4? Actually, black would play the move b6. And now after pawn takes, if queen f4, or even if e6, king f8, there's no absolutely convincing win here. If queen f4, king g7. There's just nothing that completely wins the game. And black's going to next go a5. His pawns are going to get stronger, and it's just going to be a much tougher game for white to win. In the game, before he did anything, he played the move a5, restricting these queenside pawns. And I think his idea is that black's almost in zugzwang here. Black can't really improve his position. Anytime the queen moves too far away, we just take on e6. If the bishop moves here, we just go queen f4, attacking this, pinning this. If the bishop moves here, which is a move that works, he can just go back and forth. Now white did something really cool. Just plays c3. And his whole point is that after the bishop comes back, and now we go c4, black is in some weird kind of zugzwang. We can't move these queenside pawns anymore. Any queen move runs into some very annoying problems, like I mentioned earlier. For example, even queen d7, check, queen f6. The queen is perfectly posted on e7. The bishop's perfectly posted on e4. This pawn can't move. These pawns cannot move anymore. So what should black do? I mean, black just didn't know what to do. And that's the beauty behind Anand's play. This move a5. The patience to play that move first and only then set up the c4 move while intentionally losing a move in the process. Very impressive stuff. And now, after the move bishop f5, he played queen f4. And after takes, check, black was in big trouble. Let's just look at a few other examples as to why a5 was so crucial. Let's say white plays c4 right away, and black goes b6, and white tries to, again, waste time. So let's say we try to entice you to play this move a5. Well, in this position, black can amazingly even play the move king to e8, hide the king on d7. And after queen takes queen, pawn takes, bishop takes a5. Black is totally fine here. Yes, we're down a pawn, but we have a threat to win this pawn with bishop to f3. After bishop e2, king to d7 threatens king to e6, winning this pawn. Bishop g4, king to c6. we are going to get this pawn. King d5's coming. And as soon as this move is played, king to d6. I'm not sure if I just played this correctly or not. Probably just this setup, and white has no real legitimate chance to win. Because anytime king d4, bishop takes pawn. Let me see if I'm right. Yeah, it's just a draw. There's just no way forward. If b4, we just waste time. And the a pawn is weak. White just has no way forward. And by the way, notice, this pawn is weak. This one isn't. So, just again highlights the importance of that move a5. You never know when you're going to want your opponent's pawns on the weak squares. Fixing the pawn like this, a beautiful move. And after c4, we got this endgame. White won a pawn. And the rest of the game was a cleanup job by Anand. Just walks his king in nice and patiently. If queen takes pawn, I think e6 is going to win. Let me see if that's right. Hold on. Oh, no, queen here, queen d6. This is just a winning king and pawn endgame. Stalemate, except for this move. And then queens. Let's go back. So black couldn't take that. And white just patiently maneuvers. Again, if queen takes pawn, queen d6 just wins. King c5. And now white to move. What's the best move here? Did you say king to b6? Infiltrating with the king? I hope not, because this is checkmate. But that would be unfortunate. Not king to b6, but just queen to c4 is very strong. And when the queen moves away, we walk in with the king and with check. Queen c5, and we're sneaking in. Queen to d6. And I don't remember what he did here. e6 probably. Yeah, and if queen check, queen c5 is check. And we trade queens and win. And black resigned here. This is the last game I'm going to show from this tournament. The rest were all draws. There's one or two interesting games, but the most interesting stuff I've already shown you. And in my viewpoint, Anand played this game exceptionally well. There was a game later on against Andrekin, in which point he could have tried to win a position that was like complicated. I just thought like from a practical standpoint, what he did made a lot of sense. All that mattered to him is winning the tournament. I mean, it's a difference of opinion from Carlsen, who's a little more aggressive in spots like that. Anand's a little more practical and pragmatic, and was just happy to win the tournament and go on to face Carlsen in a rematch. This game was great. That move a5, I loved it. Those kind of patient moves, stuff like fixing your opponent's pawns, just basic technical stuff that a lot of people would ignore, and a lot of people would see that position and just want to go c4. But a5 is a great move. So Anand played fantastically this tournament. I mean, almost perfect chess from beginning to end. Obviously not exactly perfect, but just unbelievably well. If he can play at this level consistently and not get rattled by Carlsen, he has a chance, because really, he played exceptionally well. I mean, very, 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 very strong play from Anand. I still believe that Carlsen will beat him due to his voodoo skills and his just kind of like overall, he's kind of in the head of Anand, I think. But, this has to give Anand a jolt of confidence. If I was Anand, I would avoid all chess tournaments for a while. Because we see what happens when he plays in the tournament and he's not 100% focused. He kind of doesn't do that well. And I feel like that might... I don't know. I mean, he's in a really good mood now, obviously. He just won the candidates over all these great players. If I were him, I would just not play anything else. I would make this the last tournament I played in and just wait and just study and wait and maybe play some training games with some strong players or whatever. But, this rematch, I actually am interested in it because what I really wanted was somebody to win the tournament convincingly, because then at least you can feel like maybe they have a chance. Like if somebody like Aronian wins with +2, and everyone else is +1, and he gets lucky in some games. It's just kind of like You know he's going to lose to Carlsen. But if Anand can play at the level he played this tournament, there's no telling what can happen. He played exceptionally well in this tournament. No joke. This was a very impressive performance. So thanks everyone for watching this series. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you don't mind that it's very late coverage. But again, it's still chess, and it's still pretty recent. And hopefully you learned something from these games. And this is probably the way it will continue. Whenever we cover modern tournaments, the coverage will be a bit delayed, just so that I don't feel rushed. Because when I feel rushed to make videos, man, I don't like that feeling. I don't like it at all. Thanks, guys. See you next time. Bye-bye.